Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is we have phrases. We're going to be focused on the different phrases that we have, and we need to understand that phrases are groups of related words in a sentence that is used as a single part of speech, and that does not, I cannot say this loud enough, it does not contain both a subject and a verb. So when we get into phrases, we have three different types really. We have a verb phrase, a prepositional phrase, and a positive phrase. From there, it gets a little crazy because under each of those, there's more subcategories. But right now, we need to focus on just the fact that we have verb, preposition, a positive. Those three phrases. So right now, I want you to memorize. Use our brain. All right, see if I can draw a pretty picture of a brain. Use our little noodle brain. To make sure that we understand what these three things are. Make sure that they get eaten by your brain. Verbal, prepositional, a positive. Verbal, prepositional, a positive. Those three things, drill them into your brain. To be a prepositional phrase, you must have a few things. It must have a preposition, and it will start with a preposition. Plus, you might have some modifiers. Like, modifiers could be, what do we know them? Adjectives, or adverbs, or articles. You can have those things. And these things, when they modify, what they're going to do is they're going to modify the object of the preposition. So you have to have those three things. Well, you might not have modifiers, but you have to have a preposition and its object. That is the first thing we look for. Now, I've heard somebody say before, the preposition, the easiest thing to kind of realize what prepositions are is think of a mouse. A little tiny mouse, right? And little feet. Whiskers. Oh boy, poor little mouse got the funniest little head. Anywhere a mouse can go describes a preposition. So if it can go under, it can go over, it can go round, it can go through, it can go next to, it can go alongside, it can go by, near. So anywhere a mouse can go kind of gives you an idea of what a preposition is. So anytime I use a word, and I'm not sure to say, can a mouse go there? Now don't think like house. Think directions. A direction a mouse can go. Under, over, around, next to, by. All those different things. And if you're still not sure about all of that, what then you've got to do is you've got to start being able to memorize your prepositional phrases. And we've already given you all that information on prepositional phrases. If you remember, I told you that on page 58 of your grammar book, you will find the list of the most common prepositions. And again, you have to start with a preposition for it to be a prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrases are very important to be able to find. It's going to make your life so much easier. So let us focus on prepositional phrases. Prepositional phrases do one key thing. They are going to simply give us more information about another word, usually a noun. When we do this, we're going to notice that an article, we're going to notice that it gives us that relationship. It shows us the connection between the main thing and the phrase. Again, it's giving us that extra little bit of information. So we have to understand all those different things. So, let me give you an example. I'll erase that. In my desk. In is a preposition. The desk is the object of the preposition. So in my desk, that whole thing is what we call a prepositional phrase. It's telling me where something is. Can a mouse go in? Yes. So I've got to be able to find those type of things. The beauty of prepositional phrases is that I know that my subject can't be in there, my verb can't be in there, so I can eliminate a lot of things when I find prepositional phrases. So we're going to become masters of prepositional phrases. What in the page do we want to be paying attention to? Page 58. Memorize that page number. It will make your life so much easier. Here's an example of something that is not a prepositional phrase. And that's because, well, I'm not going to tell you why. I want to see if you can figure out why what I'm going to write is not a prepositional phrase. All right, so there's your example. He ate lunch. He ate lunch. How come this is not considered a prepositional phrase? Come to me and tell me why he ate lunch is not a prepositional phrase. Please use a complete sentence. Okay, Mr. Sanchez, the example you gave me that was not a prepositional phrase, he ate lunch, was not a prepositional phrase because that's what I'm looking for. Make sure you know that. The trick here is I want to know, how do I find prepositional phrases? Well, step one is always the same. Read the sentence, right? Step two, always the same. I want to always find my subjects and my verbs, right? From there, this is where the new third step is, and this should be your new step. Find prepositions. And to do this, I'm going to use page what? You guys should know this by now. What page am I going to use? If you're not sure, come find me. Tell me what page. Then you come back and you'll get the rest of the steps. Alright, now that you know that it's on page 58, you're going to come and find me. Or you told me, you found me, you told me, page 58, and now we're moving on to step 4. I'm going to ask myself that. I want to find the object of the preposition. How do I find the object of the preposition? Well, it's kind of easy. You just take the preposition. Let me see if I can shrink this down a little here. I take the preposition, and I'm going to ask, what? The answer to that will be the object of that. So let's see how that works. So let's go back to in my desk. Now we already know the answer to this, but we're going to use it anyway. We said in was the preposition, right? So I'm going to put in here. I'm going to say in what? In my desk, right? Oh, so the desk is my object. So it's very simple. We take a preposition and we put it here and we add it to the word what? Right? Let's make sure that we know this. And from there, we ask that question and we get the fact that it's a desk. It's in my desk. We got to be able to do those things. So now that we've done that and we found that the preposition is a certain thing, we're going to definitely take our time on the next concept. So now that we found the object, we know what that is. So the prepositional phrase is very simple. It's the preposition all the way to the object. All the little cool stuff that's in between the preposition and the object is part of the phrase, and those will be your modifiers. Let me give you an example that's cool for that. Let me shrink this down really quick. Spin him around a little bit. Ooh, put him over in the corner. Now, what I do is I'm going to give you an example. 1 second while I type it. Yeah, typed it. That's how good I am. So we've typed it. Now it says, he ate at the new restaurant near the old mall. What I have to do is I've read this sentence, as we've said. We found the subject and verb. I know that he is my subject. Ate is what he did. That's my verb. At the new restaurant near the old mall. So again, I'm going to go find prepositions. I turn to page 58, like you're supposed to do, and I'll look through the list, and I know that at is a preposition and near is a preposition. Okay, so we found our prepositions. Now I want to go and find the objects of those prepositions. So let's focus on at, because that's one's first. At what? He ate at what? He ate at the restaurant. So that's my object, OP. So I know that everything between the restaurant and at, everything between those two things is part of that prepositional phrase. So this is the entire prepositional phrase, at the new restaurant, which tells me that the and new are nothing more than examples. So that and this are what? What are these? Oh no, we got linked. How did you do that? Anyway, those are what we call modifiers. So that whole thing, if I ask you what is one of the prepositions, you say, or what is one of the prepositional phrases in that sentence? You say, at the new restaurant, Mr. Sanchez. And I say, right you are. Great job. So let's find the other object. Again, we take it and we put it in that sentence. Near what? Again, here it is, right? There's our little thing that we do. Near what? Near the mall. Okay, so mall is that's my object of the preposition, my OP. This is my preposition. So then I say everything between it, near the old mall. All of that. All that is my prepositional phrase. Near the old mall is my other preposition. So how many prepositional phrases did I have in that sentence? I had 2. I had at the new mall, right? At the new restaurant, and near the old mall. The and old are what? The is an article, and old is an adjective. So these are what we call what? Whoa, whoa, whoa. They are called modifiers. I'm having problems over here. Ooh. Of the object. So they modify the object. Now, we've done our few steps here. Let's see how we do here. So we've done read, subject verb, label it, give me the preposition, and the page. What was the page again? You should know, right? And then the last thing is prepositional phrase. How do we find it? So we've done all those different things, right? Remember, this was 58, and this meant to do the preposition right here. This was page 58. That was the preposition, and this was the preposition. Make sure you know it. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the next step, and that is label the rest of the sentence. So we found the prepositional phrase, now we want to label the rest of the sentence. So our final step will be doing all those other things that we started doing. Right? We'll find maybe a direct object plus the indirect object, which means we have to pay attention. Do we have a predicate nominative or the predicate adjective? So we're going to do all those things. At this point, I want to label the rest of the sentence. I got to get everything down there. That's the whole point. So let's give you some practice and see how you do. I'll do a few, and then you're on your own. Here are your 3 sentences. The first one is, one of these soldiers was Paul. All right, so the first thing I wanted to do is I've read it. Now I want to find my subject and verb. Well, I know that was is a verb. It's always a verb because it's is, right? Well, what was Paul? And a lot of people mess up. They'll say soldiers, but I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I put one as my thing. And if I'm not sure, I'll leave it blank. Because then I'm going to go to my prepositional phrases. And I know that my prepositional phrases are on page what? Notice a reoccurring theme there. Page 8, of. And I say, of what? What is it of? Of soldiers. So there's my prepositional phrase. This thing is my prepositional phrase. So I know my subject can't be in that. Well, Paul's afterwards. I know that that can't be it. So one is the only thing left. That's my subject. One was Paul. Well, that we know was is a linking verb. So this makes this a predicate nominative. So I finish my sentence, and I'm done. Here's my preposition, my object of the preposition, and then this is a modifier. Because it's these. It's a demonstrative adjective, demonstrative pronoun, telling me which shoulders, these shoulders. That sentence is done. Nice and easy. Sentence number 2, he was tired after the tough practice. Okay, so let's start with our subject and verb like we're supposed to. Verb, subject, good. Well, so we know that was is a linking verb. So we've got another linking verb. And so that means he has to be linked to a predicate nominative, predicate adjective. So what's describing him? Tired is. There's my predicate adjective. You know what? We're not supposed to do that first, right? So let me erase that. Ignore that. We'll come back to that. I want to focus on, again, page 58, and make sure that I find my preposition. And then I say, after what? After practice. Now that means everything between there is my prepositional phrase. The and tough are modifiers. That whole thing is my prepositional phrase, which just leaves tired, which it's describing, so it's a predicate adjective. Very simple. And my last one. Find my subject and my verb. Philip walked to the store next to the park. There, I read it. Now I found my subject and verb. This is an action verb, right? Because they're walking. So I know there might be a direct object. What got walked? Nothing. So there's no direct object. Now, I'm going to use page 58 to find my prepositions. Well, I know that to is, and then this is a tricky one. You have to be very careful. Next to is. But now that I've looked up to, I want to look directly after it. Make sure that it's not a verb. It's not a verb, so that is definitely a preposition. Now I say to what? Well, that's to the store. So everything between there is my prepositional phrase. So there's one prepositional phrase. And then next to what? Next to the park. There's my other prepositional phrase. And I'm done. Now I know that direct objects and indirect objects are not going to be prepositional phrases, so there is nothing else to the thing. I'm done. I can make sure that I label everything if I want to get crazy. I say this is my object of the preposition, this is my article, right? Object, article, and we're good. That's how easy it is. That's probably one of my other steps is I just label all my articles because articles are so easy. A and the, right? A and the. These are always going to be articles. Okay? The next page, you're going to go ahead and complete the sentences and bring them to me. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck. When you're done with those, bring them to me.